But it's not any car. It's an adorable little Fiat and it's electric. So here I am doing my part to save the world. Hey you guys, so yes, I got a car and I'm so happy with it, and it's actually the first time that I go get a car at a dealer. I borrowed cars for like a really long time from, you know, my parents, and then eventually I bought a car from my parents, but it was just giving me so many issues. Now I did want to say this. My parents were so against me going to a dealer, and I understand, because I think in the Latino community a lot of the times people take advantage of you, especially when you don't know about cars. But I was very set on what I wanted, and I knew I had a budget and that's what I was going to stick to. So at the end of the day, it came down to, could I afford it and who was going to pay for it. Since I'll be the only one that's solely responsible for this car, I decided to make the choice for myself that this was the best thing for me, and I'm so happy with it. I'm incredibly happy, and I feel very blessed because I was driving around a car that was always throwing out smoke, that was turning off while I was driving it. The windshield wipers just would not work anymore, and you know, it was salvageable if I removed the engine and fix things. So I just, you know, it wasn't worth me putting more money into it. So it was time to let go of my beautiful green truck, but I don't regret it. I'm so happy that I, you know, let that car go, and you know, now I have an adorable little baby that I love so much. I did want to talk about why I got that car and how I got it and who I recommend it for. So I didn't get any car. I got a really cute Fiat, and it's electric. So the reason I got an electric car is because I just got a job where I'm able to charge for free at work. And it's one of the perks. Here in San Jose, actually, the city got like a huge grant where they're putting charging stations everywhere. And actually at my local mall, there's 2 charging stations for free. But I'll go into that in a little bit. Essentially, that was one of the biggest motivating factors for me to go and get an electric car. Like, I thought I was going to have to get, you know, an older car, and probably not the best car because I was on a budget and I didn't want to spend more than $10,000. Originally, I wanted a Beetle. Like, I was so set on getting a Beetle, and ever since I was young, I either wanted a Beetle or a Mustang, and obviously I couldn't afford it right out of high school. So now I was like, you know what, I'm working a lot, so let me just get me, so I'm gonna get the car I want. I was so set on the Beetle, but everyone that I talked to in my family was like, those cars are not good, like you're not gonna be able to afford having to fix it over and over again, and it's a German car and they're expensive. Lo and behold, when I'm deciding on whether I should get the Beetle or not, Volkswagen came out with an announcement that they were discontinuing the Beetle, and that really broke my heart. But it also opened up my eyes, because then I realized if it's expensive to fix up a Beetle now, how much more expensive is it gonna get if they discontinue the car and the parts that they're making? So I decided that a Beetle was out of the picture. Now, knowing that I really wanted that car, I figured that maybe I can get a smart car because they're really small as well. When I looked into it, I think they're not being sold here anymore, or they're also getting discontinued. So I talked with my cousin, and shout out to my cousin Robin because he is the best. He recommended a Fiat, and he said their Italian cars are a lot more reliable than Beetles, and now they have electric ones and they actually don't go for that much. So I did some research, and they were like in the $7,000, $8,000 range for 2016, 2017 models. And I was like, how is this possible? So I did my research. I found a lot with only like 20, 30,000 miles. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I went into a dealership. It was a beautiful Fiat. It was like a light blue color. It only had 20,000 miles on it. It was like $8,000 or $9,000, but they had sold it the day before. And there I learned that a lot of the Fiats are coming back from being leased. So a lot of the 2016, 2017 cars are coming back into dealers and coming back into the market, but they have low miles. And I also learned that electric cars don't have the best resale value. So buying a used electric car was actually going to be very good for me. Like, it was definitely going to be within my budget for a car that was much newer than what I originally thought I would get. I spent a whole week taking lifts, and at that point I was desperate, and I know that's not how you should shop, but I found a dealer that had 3 Fiats, different years, different mileage, and different colors, and I went in with my friend Norma, and I was set on, I was only going to take a Fiat, I was going to take one of those 3, and if they didn't help me out, I was going to jump ship and go to a different dealer right next door and get myself an electric Fiat. After I explained my situation and I explained that I was just transitioning into a new job, the guy really took, I think he really liked Norma and I. He asked about school, and I think when he realized that we were college students not that long ago, you know, 2-3 years ago, he was definitely on it, and he was like, we're gonna get you a car, don't you worry. And it was actually like a really, really nice experience. I never felt like I was pushed into anything. I never felt like I was pressured into anything. Everything was so smooth, and I only gave $500 down, and I walked away with the Fiat that day. I actually went with the cheapest model that they had, so I got my car for $7,700, and it's a 2016 Fiat, and it's so cute, black with a little bit of orange on the sides, and it definitely has a sporty look, which I do enjoy. I could have gotten a car that was a year newer for like $1,500 more, but it was orange, and even though the inside was white and I was really, really into it, I couldn't really justify spending the extra $1,500 when really the only thing I needed was something to get me from point A to point B. So that's why I ended up getting a Fiat. Like, all these factors kind of pointed me in that direction. I felt very blessed and very, very happy. And yeah, now I have a car that 3-4 years ago was $35,000, and I'm driving around in the car that works, that turns on, that isn't giving me issues. And I do see a con with having an electric car, especially mine. The mile range isn't huge, it's like 90 miles. So I do have to plan ahead if I'm gonna go, you know, on long trips or anything. But I do really like it, and one of the biggest perks I see is that, well, one, safety. Like, I'm, you know, finally driving a car that's operating like it should. But what I've noticed the most is how much money I'm saving. I'm actually spending less on the car payment than I was on gas on my truck, and I was driving like a 20-year-old, 22-year-old truck, and it was just a gas guzzler. Like, I would spend a good $250, sometimes even more a month just on gas. And right now gas is ridiculous. Like, prices keep on going up, and who knows, I don't know if they're gonna go down anytime soon. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with my car. Now, there has been 2 times where I had to give people rides last minute, and I was stressing because we were running out of battery, and I don't want to get my car towed. Like, I've only had it for a month. So thankfully, like, those 2 people were, you know, considerate. I was also doing them a favor, so they were considerate that we needed to stop and charge. But yeah, as long as I plan ahead and don't let it get too low, then I'm totally fine. And like I said, I charge at work, so it's almost always like at 80 or 90%. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I live close to a mall. I live close to Eastridge Mall, and they actually have 2 charging stations that are for free. But I've gone and charged there. Like, I've gone to see a movie and I leave my car charging, and it's like so convenient. And there's also, like, in the mall, there's charging stations where you do pay, but the cost of electricity is so cheap. Like, I think I left it at the BART for 2 hours that first week I had it, and it was like $1.11. In December I spent $2 on electricity, and in January I've spent, I think, $3 so far, but we had the long weekend, so I had to charge twice. I think I would recommend this car for someone, my car specifically, like a Fiat whose mile range is, you know, not as big as a much bigger car. For people who are commuting short distances, people who are mostly within the city, and if you are close to charging stations, which now it's almost anyone, I think it's a good way to be eco-friendly. And if I knew what I know now, I would have done it last year. And so what I would recommend is, if you want an electric car and you want to get it on a budget, buy a car that's 2 or 3 years old that just came back from being on a lease. It'll be very little miles. You can get a warranty on the battery, and I don't know, I think you would be very happy. For me, I'm single, I don't have kids, so getting a small car like this was not an issue. And I know some of you do have families and do need more space, but I also know that there's a lot of people who are able to get smaller cars, and why not? You know, if you don't need that much space, why not get a smaller car? For me, it was really a choice of just needing transportation. So, you know, I was lucky and I wasn't picky, so I went with a very small car, but it's really adorable. I love it so much, and I don't know, I can't imagine my life without it. It's only been like a month, but I'm really liking it. Anyways, I will be making a video on like what's inside my Fiat later on, and giving you guys an actual tour of the car. But yeah, I thought it would be nice to share on how I got it and why. And yeah, just to let you know that I'm very happy with my new car. It's a used car, but I love it so much, and I think it's gonna bring a lot of joy and happiness into my life. So with that, I will end the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.